Hello and welcome back to the Stationary Dev, and today we're going to be taking a look at my currently inked pens for the month of March. And we have some pretty good ones here. March is my birthday month, so I figured I'd use a couple of my favorites that I have. So we're going to talk a little bit about each one of them and the inks that are in them. We had 5 inked for this month, and they still have some ink in them, so I've got a little bit ways to write to get a couple of them written out before we switch over to our April ones. But let's go ahead and get started. As always, we're going to be in our Tomoe River paper, 68 GSM. Tomoe River paper, there was last month, a lot of blue last month, and so we've changed that up a little bit. Not as much blue. Still some. And let's see. I'm going to start off with the oldie, or the sort of regular EDC kind of pen, my daily driver, which is the Enso Bolt. Before we do that though, let me get us a title going. We have our currently inked for March 2025. Yeah, so this is what I've been using for my daily driver, while my Pilot Decimo is with Pilot getting looked at. And this is the Enso Bolt Brass edition. And this pen and I have had a rocky start, an off and on relationship, but it's currently working pretty good, I think, as intended. Once we got a new nib unit here, so the nib unit originally came with was just drying out, I mean, within an hour or two, if even that. And I contacted Enso. They sent me, and also within a couple days, the seal already had tore on the front there. You can kind of see this one's starting to wear out just a little bit. You can see some daylight through there. But it had already torn. I mentioned that in my email to them, and so they sent me new nib units. These are actually the titanium nib units, but they're the same dimension, so they also work well. They work the same. And he ended up sending me, I think, 10 extra seals on top of the 2 or 3 that it already comes with. And ever since I replaced that, it seems to be working fine. Now, I will mention, after the first ink I used with that new nib unit was Pilot Blue. That was from last month there. And the Pilot Blue worked flawlessly. It never dried out, never did anything. This month I have Sailor Blue Black, and it's been a little more testy with the blue black. This is Enso Bolt's brass. It has a steel extra fine nib. Yeah, like I said, we got Sailor Blue Black in here, which is a little bit more of a, it's got some sheen to it. And I think that's what kind of this pen doesn't play well with, just because of the way the seal works. So if you look, or if I can get you to look, you'll see that a lot of ink gets on the nib. And that's just a way, because how it works with that seal is it pushes through that rubber, that silicone rubber kind of seal. And so when it does that, it spreads ink over the top of the nib. Well, I think once it does that, after, a couple days or whatever, that ink dries. And if it's got any sheen or any, if it's a super saturated ink, it's going to get a little gummy. And I think that's what's causing some of the flow issues or the dry out issues there. But with this one, let's see, Sailor Blue Black. But with this one, this pen and ink combination, it's been pretty good. It'll just dry out in if it's a couple days without use, it'll dry out a little bit. And all you have to do to kind of get it back going is just work this a little bit, and it kind of spreads some more ink over the tip of the pen. And that seems to get it going again. So you don't even have to take it apart or prime the feed or anything. Usually just working that bolt takes care of it. And this is a pretty wet, extra fine and wet ink combination, so it works well. But other than that, it's been performing pretty well. But I am anxious to get my Decimo back, I will say. I like the Decimo better than this one in some regards. Most regards, I guess. But story for another day. This is the Sailor Blue Black ink. This is just their basic ink. They have really great basic inks. Their basic black is one of my favorite inks. One of my probably, yeah, it's up there as either my favorite black ink or my second favorite black ink. It's in the top two there. Of black inks, and their blue is actually a really nice sort of calming blue, a little bit different than the standard royal blues that you see. But I'm going to use my Dominant Industry ink muddler to do our swabs today. Try to save a couple of Q-tips from the trash can. And this works pretty good for what we need. But yeah, it's a really nice kind of a little bit teal leaning blue black. So it's not just like a straight blue black. It's not kind of a gray black. It comes out really dark in this pen. Really dark, but that's just because it's a really wet writing pen. So you do get some of the sheen. So it does have a bronzy, it's a dark blue black, leans a little bit teal, and has a bronzy sheen. So really just a kind of an interesting ink for just a straight blue black basic ink. And you can kind of see a little bit of that sheen on the bottle rim there. And I think the Sailor bottles just look really good, even with the basic labels. There's these kind of square bottles that work good, look good. All right, next up we have, I guess we'll get the bad out of the way first, and this might surprise some people, but next up is my Visconti Homo Sapiens. Now, I love this pen. I love the feel of this pen. I love the way it's built. I love its how it functions, how it looks, how it wears with time. I love the material is unique. Everything is good about this pen, except I've never vibed with this nib. So this does have one of the 18 karat gold nibs. And it's kind of a rose gold. I'm trying to get it to focus here for you, which I can't. It does not seem to like to focus, but 18 karat gold's nib. And this is, I just got it in a fine. I wish I'd got it in extra fine, but that was before I kind of settled in on extra fines. And for me, my biggest qualm with this nib is very smooth. But I think it might be too smooth. I think it may have had a baby's bottom on it, and I don't think it came like that. I bought it from Applebaum, and they have a like tune and smooth option when you buy a pen from them, and I did that with this one because I had heard bad stories about, Visconti nibs and whatever, and so I did the tune and smooth option. I think they over smoothed it, and it writes well if you're using pressure, but if you're using no pressure, and kind of depending on the angle that you're holding the pen at, just the flow is really inconsistent, and really the line width and the ink flow is really inconsistent. And so that's my qualm with this one. I'm probably going to have Nibmeister look at this at the Dallas Pen Show this year. That's kind of my plan, and just see if we can get that line a little bit thinner and a little bit more consistent with the ink flow, and to keep it on my list of favorite pens, because I really love this pen. I love using this pen. I love inking it up. I love the feel of it. The functionality is amazing with the cap and the bronze that sort of weathers, and it never dries out. Haven't ever had it dry out on me. I just wish I would have got one of I bought this before they had all the ones with the ink windows in them. So I wish I could see how much ink there is, because I have written it dry like when I was out and about before. But other than that, it's a pretty perfect pen for me. I just need to get this nib tuned to my liking. The ink in this one is a new one for me that I've been trying out. And it is Wearingeul. Study in Scarlet. And this ink turned out a little bit darker than I thought it was going to be. And you'll probably see from when I show you the bottle here. The bottle, this is the bottle. It comes in these little 30 milliliter bottles, the Wearingeul inks. And I got 2 of the Arthur Conan Doyle colors. One because I needed a good red. And the other one just because I like Arthur Conan Doyle. And so I was kind of getting a couple of, so might as well. I thought it was going to be more toward this color, like this is kind of what I think of when I think of Scarlet, but really in use, it comes out more of this upper left-hand corner, darker red kind of color, which is still good. It's still a good red. It's still very readable, very usable. But I wish it kind of would have been a little bit brighter there, but we'll see as I use it in other pens and stuff. Like I said, this pen is usually a pretty wet writer. This Visconti, it can be quite the wet writer, and so we'll see as I kind of use it in maybe use it in a drier pen, and see if it has any more variation in the color. Maybe gets to that lighter spectrum, but I think this ink kind of just stays in this dark Scarlet. No sheen, really. It does have a little bit of, I guess, like, maybe we'll see it here and you can see it. I think it has, like, has a little bit of its own color of sheen, if that makes any sense. Like, it's a red sheen on a red ink, so it doesn't look like it has sheen, but it kind of does. Maybe it's black sheen, I can't tell. You'll see once this kind of dries out, so it kind of works out that I did it first. Let me make sure I got, clean that off, good enough. I'm not dipping it in water, I'm just wiping it with a paper towel, so hopefully we don't have any ink mixing around, but I don't think anything will be in big enough quality to mix it. So that was pretty good. Love the pen. I just need to get that nib tuned up a little bit, and I wish the ink was a little bit lighter, but it's perfectly fine red. It's just not maybe what I think of when I think of Scarlet, but maybe I'm weird. And I'm picturing Scarlet's kind of a vague color, as we can see from like Lami's release of a Scarlet pen. It's very much like a dark purple, their pen. Not what we would think of as Scarlet, so I don't know. Up to interpretation. This is my next pen. This is the Ryan Krusac Legend. I believe this is the L16, whatever the biggest one is, or the thickest one, kind of one that he makes. And this one is one of his Scrimshaw models, and I don't remember if it's called Dragon. I'll have a review of this pen because I have it come out soon, but it's Scrimshaw. This is made out of deer antler and then wood, and so the wood is etched with dragon scales that you can see there, and the bone, or I guess the antler, is scrimshawed or etched or burned with a picture of Siegfried battling the dragon. And it's just an epic pen. This one was originally in a limited edition pen, so this is number 87 of 150 there, and you can see Ryan's signature there. I love Ryan Krusac's pens. They're great pens. This one, however, the nib that I got with it, I think it had a baby's bottom, and I had to get some nib work done there. I think, who did the nib work? I forget. Name's not coming to me right now. But I got it basically just it's still, I think this one I bought as a fine nib. And I just got the baby's bottom taken off of it, which made it write very wide and very wet. I don't know why I did that, but we can work with it. Ryan Krusac Legend Dragon. We'll just call it that for now. It's a fine nib. It's a very wet writer. after I got it, the baby's bottom fixed, and it just dumps ink on the page here. But it writes very well now, so haven't had any problem. Once again, if a pen's not writing well with you, but it's a really nice pen and you don't want to fuss about with it too much, just get a nib grinder to look at it, and they can fix it in just a matter of a minute or two usually, and get it writing perfectly. The ink I have in here is Diamine Majestic Blue. Bottle that I'm working on emptying this year. I sort of slowed down my writing, or slowed down the amounts that I'm writing this month, just because I've been focused on other things this month. I haven't had a whole bunch of time to just sit down and write a bunch. So progress is coming a little bit slower than usual on that. Here's the bottle of Diamine Majestic Blue though, and I'm about here. You can kind of see on the bottle. So getting there. But it's a good ink. It's a good blue. It's a nice color blue with a lot of sheen in it. It always looks good. I can recommend. I figure for a sheeny ink, it's not too fussy. Like some sheening inks, you have to worry about smearing and dry time and stuff like that. And I find that this one is a lot better about those things than other sheening inks, especially like heavy sheeners and stuff. This one dries pretty quickly, doesn't smear too much, even in like a wet, broader nib like this one. Yeah, works fine, looks good, performs well, which is why I've used a lot of it, and trying to get rid of it, or trying to empty it out to make room in my collection. All right. Next up, we got, let's see, 2 more left. So another pen that I bought at a pen show was this one. This was probably the most recent one that I bought at a pen show, which was a couple years ago at this point. This is the Platinum Urushi Makie Sansui. So it's basically it's a 3776 underneath, and then it's done with Makie artwork and Urushi lacquer over that. And so you don't see these a whole lot, but there's a whole series of them with different art on them. This one just caught my eyes at the pen show, and I had never seen it before. I didn't know what it was, and doing a little bit of research, I kind of looked into it, and I just love the artwork, the boats and the little islands and trees, the sunsets with the birds and everything. I just thought it was done incredibly well. It was incredibly beautiful pen. I'm a Platinum fanboy anyways, and this is probably my favorite Platinum pen that I have. Yeah, it's definitely, and I got it for a good price too. So bought it from an individual, and yeah, you can kind of see how it was done. You can see the Makie was painted over the base there, and then it's got a layer of Urushi over that, but you can feel the artwork, and it's a very beautiful pen. Feels great, and obviously works amazing. This one came with a fine nib, which I like. Platinum's fine nibs. I like all of Platinum's nibs. Even their broads aren't bad at all for me. And yeah, so winner all around. Probably one of my favorite pens in my entire collection here. This is the Platinum 3776 Urushi Makie. Lots of things. Sansui is the actual name of the artwork, and then it has a 14 karat gold fine nib. Works great. The ink in this one is another one that I'm trying out that's newer to me, and that is Dominant Industry. Dominant Earl Grey tea. Oh, that got some Majestic blue in there, but you can see it's actually for a fine nib. It's actually a decently wet writer, at least with this ink combination. Once again, I absolutely love platinum pens and platinum nibs, so you're not going to find any I'm not going to have any qualms with how this thing writes. But I think this has been a good combination here. Let me try to get around to the ink. The ink, Dominant Industry inks. I'm kind of late to the party on Dominant Industry inks because I was trying for the past probably 2 years, been trying not to buy any inks, and so that was kind of when Dominant Industry blew up and got popular, and I never got any of their inks, and so I was waiting out for this one. I needed a good orange anyway, a good readable orange, and I love tea, and so tea-themed orange ink, yeah, I'm going to hop on that. So they come in these cool little 25 milliliter bottles with a little bag that goes in, an eyedropper, and all the cool stuff. And yeah, I've been impressed with this one. This one has been a good ink, and I think it goes well with the artwork. I kind of used it to match that sunset sun there in the artwork. I think it goes well. We'll get a little dip and a go of Earl Grey tea on the page. There we go. Once again, just a really good, it's not too bright, it doesn't hurt your eyes, it's not too dark where it's like kind of a burnt orange, it's just a straight down the middle, good orange that's readable, works well, it's not too wet, not too dry. I found it to be a really good addition to my collection, so even though I don't need any more inks, I'm glad I have that one and glad I tried it. And it makes me want more Dominant Industry inks, unfortunately. For me, fortunately for Dominant Industries, I guess. All right, and then the last one this week is a new pen to me, and then also a new ink to me. I think I have a review coming out, if not already out, of this one. This is the Pelikan M600. So I have a 200, a 400, and an 800. I don't plan on getting a 1000 because I think that's just going to be too big for me. But I did always plan to get a 600, and I found this one at an incredible price, incredible deal. And yeah, so I picked it up, and it's been absolutely fantastic. It has extra fine nib in there. Extra fine nib. And yeah, it's been a perfect writer. So we have the Pelikan. Definitely a wet writer, as you would expect from a Pelikan, but Pelikan M600, extra fine as a 14 karat gold. Didn't step up till 18 karat until the M800. Great one. And the ink in this one's a nice spring ink. And sadly, now a discontinued ink. This is Iroshizuku. Tsutsuji. I kind of messed that I up, but very wet combo, of course, but also an amazing ink. I did end up buying a bottle when I found one. I found one for a good price, regular price on Amazon, kind of after it was announced that it had been discontinued. And it's one of my favorite Iroshizuku inks. It's probably my favorite pink ink. I just really like this color, and so I'm not usually one for like the FOMO or like go and buy out all the discontinued stuff, but this one I needed. I even had a sample of it left. This is how I know I liked it, because I'd been using the sample version. And I kind of planned on buying a bottle probably, but I was kind of on the fence. But I guess I did kind of succumb to it's being discontinued, and it's one of my favorite pinks. Like if I'm going to ink up a pink ink or something just fun, something maybe seasonal for the spring, this is the one that I do go to. And so I kind of figured I'd miss it in my collection. Like I'd miss having access to it if I didn't have access to it. And so we bought it. And it's, once again, it's another readable ink. It is kind of bright, but it's not too bright. It doesn't sear your eyes. It's not too pale to where you can't read it or can't use it. And the cool part of it, or one of the cool parts of it, is it has an amazing gold sheen, which you can probably see, or you will be able to see here. It has just an amazing gold sheen, like a lot of the Pilot kind of pinks and reds do. All right, so that's all of them for this month. We'll go through one at a time here. We have the Sailor Blue Black and the Enso Bolt Brass EF. Definitely a Western sizing EF there, but you do get a little bit of that bronzy sheen and the blue black, but it comes out, this pen writes really wet, so it comes out, it's kind of darker there. You have the Visconti Homo Sapiens with this was an 18 karat, I forgot to put that on there, but it's 18 karat with Wearingeul, Study in Scarlet. You do get a little bit of the brighter kind of peeking out on the less saturated ones, but you can kind of see what I was talking about with a little bit of that like maybe red sheen on a red ink. It's not any other color, but it's just kind of its own kind of concentration there. The Ryan Krusac Legend with Diamine Majestic Blue, wet pen and ink combination, but it works out because it's a sheener of an ink and just has a good effect there. Platinum 3776 Urushi Makie with Dominant Industry Earl Grey Tea. Just a great combination, great pen. Been really impressed with the ink. It works, sits perfectly in my collection for just a good orange, right down the middle orange ink there. And then last but not least, you can see the golden sheen there of Iroshizuku Tsutsuji. So that one will be missed, I'm sure. And the Pelikan M600. Definitely wet writer, definitely European, wet writer, thicker side of extra fine, or what can be considered extra fine. But solid pen. Never has let me down yet. And I just love writing with it. I like my Pelikans a lot. So yeah, there we go. That is the tonal. If you made it this far, that was kind of a longer video than I meant for it. I tried to move as fast as I could, but alas, sometimes it just lingers on a little bit. I'm trying to get these where they kind of line up, but whatever. And yeah, if you made it this far though, make sure to give it a like, subscribe on the video real quick before you go, and make sure to leave a comment if you have any questions or comments about the pens and inks I used for this month. Hopefully you can find something that you liked here. If you need to ask me about anything else, feel free to do that in the comments. I try to get back to those and read those when I can. Yeah, and until next time, I'll catch you guys later. See ya.